So my research is about how is Pompeii portrayed? How is it seen? How is it felt? Not only today, when we see documentaries, which are also not the truth. It's a 45-minute or 30-minute story about a city. Even if it's documentary, it's not the truth. It's one angle of the truth, maybe. Because even in science, there have been corrections over corrections, not only today, but in the course over centuries. We think we have an idea about what the Roman Empire was. So I'm looking at Pompeii, how it was told. They found so many phallic symbols across the city. What we think is sexual, but that's the first assumption. Is that true? Because the phallic symbol is now charged with sexual meaning. You know, there's so many myths also in science. Also, they thought they find the skeleton of a family, the mother holding her child, the father holding the other child, the perfect family. Found now with technological, improvement with the DNA, they found out that they were not related among each other at all. There's a collective narrative across everything. One of the archaeologists was gay. In the time when he was living, Winkelmann, in the time that he was alive, he was actually, if it came out that he was homosexual, he would have died. The death penalty. So that might have been for him, for him be a portrait of Pompeii, of a more free world of things.
So his perception already changed the narrative.
And the church framed Pompeii as the example for the sinful city, an example for this is what happens. The world ends for those who sin, the sinner's city.
Of course.
Yeah. And also in our imaginations, all the temples, all the buildings, the white statues, these white temples, the purity. This was also a picture of, the purity of this age. It's all white statue, but not knowing that that's not true. It was all polychrome. It was all very colorful. All the buildings were very colorful. All the columns, everything was colorful. And now we are in the narrative of there's this volcanic eruption and a lot of people die and a lot of drama, and that was the past decades. And now we are already changing into people consciously making films and saying on film, we want to leave the narrative of this dramatic narrative about Pompeii, because we want to tell how life was and not how this one day was when the volcano erupted. So this is my research topic. How is Pompeii portrayed over centuries, and what is the truth, and what different kind of angles are there, and what is how is it portrayed? How is it among the scholarly research? And where is the level of consciousness, and what is truth, and what is portrayed? What is the projection? Where is Pompeii just not seen? But is used for a lot of projection. So this is my research topic.
So interesting. Do you have some in your own story, some maybe related thing has happened in your life And could you share something about that, and if that has connection to this topic and to your research?
I'm a filmmaker, and I know how films are being produced, and I've only done documentary films and documentary shows and all kind of, but always documentary, so portraying the truth. But it's always so subjective. In the hundreds of productions I did for TV or as a commercial, it's always the few. It's not light or so, but the way you feel it, the way you use the music, the way you select what's, because you can't portray the whole reality. You select. And we, as a human being, we select already because we can't see the full range of light. We can't see the full range of. So we are constructing a reality, although we are truth lovers. And I know it from being the director, from editing, from doing films for 25 years in all sorts of things for TV and private and for economy and everything. It's always a choice of what you put in and not, and how the people feel. So this is connected to my own story, how reality is constructed, but also on a very personal level, how reality in full can be perceived on a personal level. Because I survived a terror attack, 9/11, and at the World Trade Center on that day. And I have insight on moments where the unexplainable happened in my surrounding, and what happens to thoughts and the brain and the experience and how it feels. And in that moment when I couldn't digest what I was seeing. It was just, I didn't understand what I saw. I didn't understand, but I couldn't, and I didn't know, of course. Oh, now I'm in a historical moment. I thought,
Oh, let me take some notes here.
should I go back into the tower because it's my first workday? You can't categorize. So, and also when you're in that moment, and what made me run and not follow my thoughts was that in that moment, some kind of switch in my body switched. Your body takes control. It's not your thoughts. It's like really pure instincts. As far as I'm aware at this moment in research. There's only one clear time witness report from back then. And that's from Pliny the Younger. His uncle who died there, who went there, his uncle asked, "Do you want to come with me on a boat to get closer to the volcano?" And he died there. And so it was one decision away from death. I thought, I still have, was my first work day, so I was super, super, super early to be really on time, to have all the backups of time. And I have so much time. Should I go up on the Winners of the World, which was a cafe up on a 110th floor of the World Trade Center? And that was just one decision away. This kind of approach, you can't approach it with that scientific eye. You need to have felt that something unknown is coming into your life, and you don't know what to do with it, and you're in life danger. and your decision counts. And in being in that animal, it's such a different kind of being that it's hard even to explain. So this was and this is, I will take that into my research and see what my supervisor and the committee says.
But even as you are sharing this and explaining your how you could integrate this into the research, but when you were kind of telling his story and telling your story, my body responds. And it's like when you are talking about this illusion and reality and conscious, I mean, it feels like this storytelling level is where, how do I put it? We get new information, which is not about, do I believe this or not? Because it's not my head that is kind of taking the information in. And of course, I'm biased, but I feel that the research could really benefit from this kind of an angle. And it's not just like only kind of trying to be neutral, because it never is anyway. The research or documentary, it never is neutral anyway. So why not like remove that requirement, at least for a moment, and see if that could bring up more information?